Hello and welcome to a Marketplacer webinar. My name is Richard Hankin. I'm the Senior Vice President of North America for Marketplacer. And today we're here to talk about curated marketplaces and the relationship between the owner of the marketplace and the seller and the value proposition that sit around that and how brands have been able to grow in a marketplace strategy through actionable insights. Joining me today is Jens Beckermeyer from Fishbrain, the VP of Sales and Partnerships of Fishbrain, and Blake Reese from Favorite Fishing, who leads Sales and Marketing for Favorite Fishing. Jens, perhaps first, before we sort of kick off, thanks for joining, but I'd love to start with you and just perhaps if you can give the audience a little bit of an overview of the Fishbrain business.
Sure. Thank you, Richard. Fishbrain is like the #1 fishing app in the world, helping customers, over 15 million users we have, to find places to fish, like where to go fishing, what to use, when to go fishing. And we also have a shop helping customers to find the right products for the right occasion when they go fishing. So we have a shop with over 100,000 products today on the shelf.
Excellent. And for added context for the audience today, Fishbrain started business as a social or a community social experience, and obviously today, as people can see, is a transactable commerce experience too. And you've managed to do that through launching a marketplace strategy. But before we get to that, maybe talk a little bit about social and kind of how that's sort of the core of what Fishbrain is.
Sure. I mean, Fishbrain social is the natural part of our DNA. We have started on the social side with today 15 million users, where we also have over 350,000 gear reviews from real anglers. So the nice part for our users is that they can always see gear related to users, gear related to catch data, gear related to species which they have catched. So it's a platform where users can get in touch with each other and discuss fishing in all ways, like where to go, when to go, what to use. So it's very natural. So that was then the decision to okay, let's look also into how can we help customers to find the best products for their needs.
Yeah, excellent. And Blake, maybe to introduce yourself a little bit. Obviously, Favorite Fishing is a seller on the Fishbrain Marketplace, and you have been for a few years now. That kind of community that Fishbrain offers, and certainly the social community. I mean, how is that appealing to Favorite Fishing, and how has kind of social been a focus or a pillar of the Favorite Fishing business?
Well, thank you, Richard. Yeah, for us. When we started, social was our main go-to-market strategy, and we've had a ton of success with that. Obviously, just a little background: we also launched Googan Baits and started the Googan Squad. So social was huge for us. And then Fishbrain, just when we started, we were pretty well the leader in the industry as far as social media, and then that's probably how we got together because. Jens, they were obviously leading. Fishbrain was going that direction also, and we were really both just kind of the outcasts in the industry, and that kind of led us together because there was no one else that wanted to dance with us, basically. And so as we move forward, and when you look at how they're able to market, and like Jens said, 14 million fishermen, not people, actual fishermen, and so that's been our great strategy is to kind of just rely on them because these are people that are fishing. So that's how it began.
Yeah, excellent. Look, it's a fascinating story, the evolution. For the listeners out there, when Marketplacer obviously is a platform that enables businesses to create a marketplace offering, whether that be a retailer extending their product range through third-party sellers or a social app like Fishbrain going transactional and obviously not having the desire to be a retailer and store inventory. One of the things that we always look at is what's kind of the right to do this? What's the unfair advantage? As opposed to just being an entrepreneur looking to create something from scratch, what are what's the strength or the asset that underpins the business that would allow you to execute a marketplace strategy? And one of the things that obviously, I mean, you've mentioned it, Jens, is having 15 million users already before you even had a product for sale. I mean, how did you leverage that sort of quite established global database to pivot into a marketplace, and what was the kind of steps you took?
Yeah, I think the sweet spot is like different technologies we're using, like machine learning, to also give like recommendations on the products for our anglers, because like we've often anglers connecting their catches with the gear they were using, and so we can recommend again other users to like, this gear obviously works best for that species or that time of day or that kind of weather or that location, because fishing in Florida is very different from fishing in Wisconsin, for example. So it's different species, you need different gear, you need different lines, you need another bait, you need to draw it slower in cold water and so on. So there are a lot of like specifics that differ between the areas, and there we can do like the recommendation based on real catches, real anglers.
And absolutely, and it just seems like it's a natural extension of the Fishbrain customer journey that was happening. People were engaged in a community, posting their, I caught this particular fish using this product, and obviously pivoting from a traditional advertising revenue model to a position where your community can see what their peers have what products their peers are using in what locations, and then it seems like the most natural data insights piece is you knew what product to go get because you could see what people were actually using. So it seemed like a fairly logical step.
Exactly. And then we could use that data as well, because a lot of products are like also off the market then. If they're like a couple of years old, then you can use that data. But just like, okay, we have here like a product in this size for that, with that weight, we can use it to accelerate the data to say like, okay, today's products would match for that product, for example, to get it over to buyable product as well, even if it's not on the market anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Blake, obviously, Favorite Fishing. I mean, you're a retailer first and foremost. I mean, you have first-party products that you own, warehouse, and sell to your customers. Stepping in addition to that, a marketplace channel in Fishbrain, where it's a Fishbrain customer, but it's an incremental sales channel to you. How did you approach adding that to your overall kind of commerce strategy?
Well, first, it just went down to margins. For us to sell on their marketplace, we still maintain a much, much higher margin than we do anywhere else. And so the value was already there. That's the main thing. And then the second point, with their 15 million, it's so much easier to market to those fishermen. So that was our mindset from the get-go. And so we really felt like there was no way we could fail in going this route. And just, we were pretty well the guinea pigs that started this, and it was just kind of a see what happens, but there could be no negative.
And at the risk of a fishing related pun, was it about sort of casting the net a bit wider to find an
Absolutely.
audience that weren't transacting with you?
Absolutely. That was the main thing. It's just seeing really what takes place, because nobody really, when we started this, we had no idea. So
yeah,
we definitely believed in their platform. And so it was kind of, let's just see what happens. And again, there was really no risk for us.
And it's different to, I mean, my own personal experience prior to Marketplace was many years at eBay, and it's a different strategy to that. I mean, that the eBay and Amazon kind of worlds, it's yes, you get enormous reach, but it's not focused on your category.
Right.
It's largely a race to the bottom with price and selection.
Absolutely.
Whereas it's as you said, margin played an important factor. So just having the cheapest product seems like it's not at the top of the hierarchy.
Absolutely. And it comes down to also, with Jens, the trust that we have with his team and their platform. And, it was really just, for us, just a huge collaboration, and we didn't know where we would end up. We just knew we felt good about the direction. And so that's how it started. And it's been great ever since, and continuing to grow.
Jens, I'm sure the audience is fascinated to kind of hear about the process. I mean, for most people listening, the value prop of setting up a marketplace operation, whether you're an existing commerce business or not, is kind of, I mean, the high level, it's really growth without cost. You can add thousands and thousands of products for sale without having the burden of owning the inventory, warehousing the inventory, or fulfilling the inventory. Tell us about the early days a bit. I mean, I see it day in, day out of businesses going through the implementation and strategy of building and starting a marketplace. How did you approach kind of where are we going to start? Like, how did you land on, say, Favorite Fishing as a seller brand? I mean, what operational changes did you have to do, to support this new endeavor? Obviously, you have to go transactional was probably a big one, but how did you approach it?
Yes. So we had like a business model based on pro subscriptions on the app. And we extended it also to like GMV to also have like sales of products. And our strength is we connect, as Blake says, like the seller with real anglers, with fishermen there. So we have the relevant target group. And what we are doing is we're reaching out to strong brands like Favorite Fishing. Again, like Blake said it as well, like very strong on social as well, very strong on social engagement, which is important because you get directly engaged with the users. You get questions on the products, which are higher relevant. You get like a lot of discussion around your products as well, which you can use as a brand to reach out also on new products, what's coming, what's happening. So what we did was like a natural next step on that. And then starting with a few brands, actually, also like for us to learn in the beginning, how does it work? How will everything be set up? And it took literally like 6 weeks from the decision to launch the marketplace to launch it then. And that was very much like an out-of-the-box solution. And with Favorite Fishing, we also had our first order fulfillment, which was really great. It went through like, we put up a test order, and then like before we could write like, okay, we need to like, that was just a test order. We got the mail, it's fulfilled, everything went well, and it's been shipped and sent. So that was really great. So it was very friction-free, and I think ever since. And so from that point on, we kind of like more and more adapted it to our customer group as well, to our segment, to deliver more and more quality to them, because that's something you need to think about from the beginning. Like, how do you deliver customer excellence? Because it is a tough competition out there for sure.
Yeah, and Blake, maybe that's a segue to you. Like integrating as a seller to a marketplace for the operator and the seller, that's where the friction exists. And you hear horror stories of businesses trying to get onto marketplaces and how that, the amount of money they throw at the problem. What was the experience like for you to join and showcase your inventory?
It was absolutely streamless. I mean, everything went just like Ian said. It was seamless. It was smooth as it can be. Now, the only way we even know it's a Fishbrain sale is it will say on the back end Fishbrain. It goes right into our back end. Our pickers have no idea, and it's just an easy flow.
And you're a Shopify store, Blake, right?
We're Shopify, and it connects we can't tell any difference except in the back end. Everything's as smooth as it can be.
And how much is that? I mean, you talk about margin. How much is that, I suppose, lack of operational burden important to you without having, obviously there are, it's different. I suppose the seamless end of no human touch on that integration is obviously important to the ROI.
Absolutely. Well, in business right now, obviously margins are a huge thing. We're getting hit from every direction, and anything that we can add on to the bottom dollar, if this was a normal, let's just say a chain store, you're looking at 30-40% margins, where with these guys, we can go back and add in, another 30-40% just off this sale. So at the end of the day, it's huge for our business. And we from something that started as let's just see what happens, I rank them number 2 in our overall our business model, but behind our regular website. So that just tells you how important we feel they are.
And then maybe Blake, to follow up, like what learnings have been most insightful? Like as a seller or a brand, what would you do differently if you did it again?
I would have started putting the emphasis that we put now. I would have done it much earlier, and I don't know if that would have made a huge difference because, in our infancy, neither one of us really knew what was taking place. But as it continued to evolve, it was like, this is something that is really, this is a real business portion. This is a great second leg for us. And so now we use it as almost side by side with all of our other platforms.
Yeah, excellent. Well, so it sounds like go faster and go harder.
Mm-hmm.
Jens, how is, obviously, as you continue to expand the product selection and use the data that you have on your customers and your community to make sure you have the up-to-date product sets, how are you driving the discoverability of that added selection to your customers?
I think it's like, besides what I mentioned, like with like technologies like machine learning, which makes it easier on recommendations and finding like right products for a specific angler for a specific moment when they go fishing, because every moment is different. I think a lot is based on like try and error. It's really like there are a lot of benchmarks, there are a lot of good examples out there on the market, but it's very different if you have to apply it to your business. And I think that's where you need to take like sometimes some baby steps and try and error, and sometimes some big bets where you take a leap and take the next step and try it again. I mean, it's technology. It's not like you're building a skyscraper and when it stands, you need to live with it the next 50 years. You can like adapt the whole time. And I think that's one major important point to have. That was also what we did when we like customized the solution more and more to adjust it to our target group more and more and better.
There's no doubt in a supply chain scenario that a marketplace is faster. I mean, you can respond to trends, and you might see a particular line of brand or product going off in a certain geography. It's a lot easier to go and find that selection from a marketplace seller perspective than it is to indent or manufacture that product and bring that in. So it's certainly something we see with a lot of our partners is the speed that you can move at in this scenario. Well, I mean, this probably is a question for both of you. Like, what are some of the marketing and sales strategies you're executing together, that builds on, obviously we're coming out of we're coming in North American winter and coming out of that sort of summer fall season, that builds on a successful. So what are some of the strategies that you're planning or that you've done together? Maybe start with you, Jens.
Yeah, I think one strength is with Fishbrain, we have something called like brand pages. So like Favorite Fishing has an own turf or place where you can get in touch with the followers and the anglers using your products and are interested in your products and have real conversations about like the value in it and so on. So you can also like attach in the conversations like, here's my product, here's the catch I had, or have like technical questions around them, which is very easy to engage because it's very natural to engage on that platform, also on the social part. That's a strength that you can have like because of the social platform in the background.
And Blake?
Yeah, for us, when we really noticed that Fishbrain really took off is when we started using that social page, just like we started treating that just like our Facebook and our Instagram pages, and we started to interact with our community and really trying to grow that. That's when we really started noticing the benefit. And as far as like planning and how we market with Fishbrain, they run parallel. Everything that we're doing, we do with them. We have meetings every other week. I have meetings with our marketing manager and we plan out our year, our months. We run everything completely parallel.
It's really great to hear that it is a true partnership. I mean, it's not like, you're embracing that your favorite fishing customers are on Fishbrain and you're allowing them to shop with you there on your site. And you've probably, my gut tells me that you've got customers that shop with you both, and it's about being available and not necessarily trying to, obviously your margin is going to be higher on your own site. That's how it works. But it's not like you treat Fishbrain like a secondary channel. You're embracing that kind of audience. And obviously it sounds, from the numbers alone, the customer acquisition opportunity is so great there that, it's worth that sort of cost to play.
No, absolutely.
What about new data insights that you got? And Jens, there's probably an entire Tableau dashboard of insights that you have now that you're transacting transacting commerce that you didn't have before that? Now, obviously, you've been going a few years, but maybe more recently, kind of what do you track now in a marketplace strategy that is different to what your historical business was?
Yes, absolutely. Like besides like GMV and like conversion rates, which is the natural part that we all of a sudden like start to look into, and like all the micro conversion, like where do the users come from, what do they look at to find the products. It's a lot about customer quality, customer value, and customer loyalty. So we see like this builds a lot of customer loyalty by providing customers like products that they wouldn't have expect to get or to like, but they see that they work, and that creates, of course, like a lot of retention. So it's like it gives a lot of user value and customer satisfaction. These are the things we see. The numbers are moving quite a lot, and that's pretty good because again, like it's very much about delivering high value to our customers. And as we are connecting the sellers and the anglers, we are not the part of fulfilling. So it's really important, and their Favorite Fishing does a really good job on like fulfilling also these orders, because that's the part where we work together and everything.
And obviously, I mean, I certainly think back to the data analysis that eBay used to do around kind of like triangulation of product. And so you'd see what you thought you knew your customer segments, but then customers would put these 3 items together all the time. And and I'm sure you're learning the customer segmentation that you have available now, because you're adding new products and new categories within fishing all the time. Your data enrichment of what your customers do and what they shop must just be getting richer and richer every day.
Oh yes, for sure. Like we have our assortment is very much like from like boat engines going to a bait. So it's like from a $2 product to a easy $10,000 product. So, and it's interesting to put together that data on like also then how it's been used later in the app. So you can see like where this product has been used and how it's been using. Is it successful for that user? We could even go down and say like that product will give you a lot of social credit on the platform because users like it a lot.
Yeah. And Blake, obviously when you have a secondary sales channel on a marketplace like Fishbrain, you're obviously tracking sales, you're tracking what the channel performs for you. I mean, you mentioned it's seamless from a fulfillment perspective, but obviously you know what the GMV kind of run rate is on that channel. Maybe it's not something you've done a lot of already in the past, but what else are you planning on wanting to look at, or is it something that you're looking to grow into? Does the favorite fishing customer on Fishbrain look different to the favorite fishing customer on your own site? I mean, what have you done so far, and what are you planning to do?
Well, as far as like the customer, I think the customer is really similar. But for me, the exciting part is, for us being primarily a bass brand, and now we're evolving into other species, and the insights and the data that they're able to provide for us, plus the targeted reach, that is what's really exciting. When you're known as a bass brand and you're evolving into salt, that's much harder if you have no targets to reach and you're just marketing to the whole world. But with Fishbrain, you're able to really zero in on those key. Number one, they're fishermen, so it just kind of can expedite your dollar spend and increase your ROA for sure.
Yeah, and maybe the same for you, Jens. Like you're growing with your knowledge about each of these customer groups and even individuals. How is it influencing your campaigns and the content that you create to push to your customers?
Yeah, very much the same way as Blake says. So we can like identify the anglers easy. Like, is it a saltwater angler? Is it a freshwater angler? If it's a freshwater angler, is it a lake angler, or are they standing by the rivers? And in which areas? And by that, like segment also like the groups to help them find the right product. So we have a lot of data around that automatically.
And as sort of Blake said, you're not marketing, a freshwater river equipment, to someone who's doing deep sea fishing in the Caribbean or something like that. That's probably a very broad based geographic view, but you can get much more granular than that within the industry.
Yeah, but that's exactly the thing. Exactly those things. And by that we deliver also like more value to our customers. So it's like not like random products recommended and presented, it's products matching their needs, which is really important in that.
Yeah, excellent. Maybe kind of lastly, I suppose, the story is fascinating. It's really, I hope it's interesting for people listening about a business that has created a marketplace offering and why and how they did it. And then obviously the value proposition to, one of your early sellers. And as we talk to lots of different types of businesses around the world that are looking to implement this strategy, one of the questions they ask is, I know my business, but why am I going to be important to a seller? And so I think that's been quite refreshing to hear and insightful. What's next? Where do you go from here? I mean, Fishbrain and Favorite Fishing, like what, I'll start with you, Jens. What advice do you have for other businesses that would create a marketplace offering, whether they be a retailer or a sort of media content business like yourself? What advice would you have?
I think like the best advice is always focus on your customer. Always have a customer first approach because they need to be in the center. You need to meet their demands. And so make sure to have a high quality service from the beginning. Don't focus on like over engineer everything. Don't solve all the problems. Take them one by one and make sure that what you built in the beginning really works well.
And Blake, as a seller that's been through that process and is reaping the rewards now, what advice would you have for, I suppose, brands or sellers thinking about going onto these types of marketplaces?
Well, first and foremost, if you can find a partner as good as Fishbrain and Jens, jump on that. That's number one key. And second is understanding your customer. It all comes back to your customer, and just realize that it's ever changing and you have to be adaptable and quick to change when things arise. So that's pretty well advice for everything in today's market.
Well, excellent. Well, I look forward to the next update and seeing where this partnership is headed. But for now, thank you both to Jens and Blake for joining. And for anybody interested that wants to find out a little bit more about how you can adopt a marketplace strategy, please reach out to Marketplacer, and we'd be happy to come and demonstrate and talk to you about this strategy. Thank you both.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you.